Welcome to the best podcast in baseball, video edition. I'm Jeff Gordon with Derrick Goold from Philadelphia. Well, Derrick, the Cardinals have kind of won every which way here, beating some of the really good teams in the National League and other teams and great pitchers, and they've done it with starting pitching and relief pitching and clutch hitting. And my goodness, Derrick, this team's sitting in a place where, go back a few weeks ago, we might not have imagined.
Yeah, won 10 out of 11. They had that 9-game winning streak. They go into Philadelphia, which they all agreed was going to be a pretty big test of where they're at. And they, win 2 of 3, including, I think, really their first kind of comeback slugfest. I mean, the second game of that doubleheader, it was like, all right, well, a lot of runs are going to have to win this game. They're down 5-1 in the first inning. And then it's like, well, do they have that in them? Do they have that gear? Because we've seen a lot of the other gears, right? We've seen their speed gear. We've seen their defense gear. We've seen their Kyle Leahy and the bullpen gear. We've seen their timely hitting gear. And we've seen their, like Mason Wynn gear. And we've seen their starting pitching gear with the complete game shut up by Eric Fetty. But we hadn't seen like that straight up, bonkers Harvey Wallbangers slugfest gear, and they provided it for, in the nightcap against the Phillies. 14 runs. The bullpen holds the Phillies scoreless, so it goes 14-7 with the comeback. 3 homers off of Aaron Nola. You had all the production from the top of the lineup. Jeff, this, I think back to like talking about like a scout looking at an amateur player, and I wrote a little bit about this in DC just because, as you mentioned, just the different ways they were winning. And a scout told me, you go to a game and you see a guy have just the game of his life, and then you go back and you see him struggle, and you go, well, where is the prospect? And it's in there. You've seen that performance in there. And I'm starting to wonder if that's maybe how we should look at this 2025 Cardinals, is if this is what's in there, like if this is how they can play, if they're capable of this, then why not hold them to that?
Well, you look at this team now, the way Contreras heated up, terrific defensively over there at first base, learning on the fly, but he's been Wilson Contreras. Mason Wynn's been outstanding. You add Ivan Herrera to this, the depth to the batting order, the power. You still have Nolan Arenado. I mean, you've got Alec Burleson swinging the bat well, hit some home runs, driving the ball, racking up RBIs. Yeah, I mean, okay, if these are the Cardinals, these Cardinals can hang around.
Yeah, and they have the 2 young guys who are struggling, right? The runway tandem, as they've kind of been discussed, Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker's playing really well in the field. He's made great strides literally in right field. He's playing very well there. But at the plate, still searching. Nolan Gorman's still searching. And I think the questions about their struggles would definitely be louder, and there would be a lot more focus on them if the team as a whole was struggling. But this performance has allowed for them to continue to work and not even be in the lineup all that often, and not be the focal point, or better yet, not be the personification of the team's struggles. Their struggles can be individual because the team is performing well. If it were the other way around, then they would be held up as example A and example B of where this season is going, and that's helpful for them. I think they're not having the weight of it press on them. And it also is, giving kind of a lens into how the Cardinals want to look on things. A lot of this road trip, Jeff, Oliver Marmol and the players were talking about, like, the goal is to get better each day. Like, they want to be, I think the phrase is, they want to be better in May than they were in April. They want to be better in June than they were in May. I asked Marmol if the way they've played in May have changed what they expect is better in June. And his point was that that's on an individual level, and if the individual improves, then the collective will continue to do well, like we are seeing.
That's Derrick Goold. I'm Jeff Gordon. This has been the best podcast of baseball video edition. A reminder that you get all the extra content that's available on our digital edition of the Post-Dispatch, stltoday.com. We're there working hard for you. We appreciate your support of local journalism. For next time, for Derrick, I'm Jeff. See you later.
Thanks, Jeff. Headed back to St. Louis.